Oh, wait, we're live? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Hello? Oh, shit. Let me... Oh, shit. Hello? What up, everybody? Damn. My bad. What's up? And good morning and welcome to the Tuesday stream. Should be a good one today. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be streaming with you guys, hanging out in the morning. And, you know, I told you yesterday I wanted to kind of turn Tuesdays into reaction streams, okay? And I think yesterday we mentioned maybe reacting to a few of Paul's videos or maybe one video that Paul did in particular. But honestly, I'm kind of excited because Rob from Comics Explained and Geek Culture Explained did a video about Phase 4. And I think this is like the perfect video to sort of start the reaction series or the series of reaction streams because, well, a couple of different things. I mean, obviously, I think it's sort of timely or pertinent, right? Like with Phase 4 ending. And we all are kind of like looking back at Phase 4, kind of making our own decisions and trying to figure out, was it that bad? Why was it that bad? Et cetera, et cetera. But also, this is, I believe, the first video from Rob on Geek Culture Explained in like a new direction for the channel. Like he wants to take it in this kind of a direction where he does more of like exposés and less news and really like kind of breaking stuff down. So I'm quite excited to get into that. Maybe we'll watch some other videos as well. I'm kind of just feeling like chilling, you know. It's Thanksgiving week, you know. Nerd Theory was long last night. I'm a little tired, so I figured we would just, you know, react to some videos and just kind of hang out throughout the day. There is, however, a little bit of news that I want to go over first. There's some Blade stuff. There's some The Marvels stuff. And maybe even other stuff. Maybe there's something going on that you guys don't know about as well. So we'll get into that a little bit as well. I do want to mention, again, for the people that watch this on the replay, we are doing a new thing on these streams called a super thanks. It's very similar to a super chat. Basically, if you're watching this video today and you're like, man, I wish I was watching this live so I could ask the question and do the super chat and force Josh to talk about something that he doesn't want to talk about or something like that. You can do that now. Do it on the video as a super thanks, and I'll read every super thanks the following day on stream. So it's kind of like a way for you to still be involved with the channel and with the Q&A kind of stuff. And I do appreciate all the love and the support when it comes to that. Okay. Should we talk about a little Blade? What do you think? You guys want to talk a little Blade today? You know, as far as the Bob Iger stuff goes, right? Because obviously this is monumental, absolutely incredibly massive news. And it still seems like there's a lot to sort of be discovered about that. And I think we might even get more stuff trickling out this week about it. Yeah, I don't really think that there's too many like real updates to figure out with that thus far. I've been having a lot of thoughts about it, though. I went to bed still thinking about it, and I still think it's really interesting. I mean, that stock price going up like that that's pretty crazy. Like, it closed above 100 again, which is like, damn! Wall Street's really positive on this dude, right? All right, so let's check this out, man. Oh, shit. Why can't I shrink this? Let me see something. If I just go down, the first thing I want to talk about, okay, is this guy right here. Yann Dimanche is now set to direct Blade, okay? So apparently this was the guy that did Lovecraft Country, which I did watch a little bit of because Jonathan Majors in that. I wanted to kind of check it out at the time. I was like, oh shit, this dude's going to be Kang. Like, what's he got? And I thought it was cool. You know, I'm not really super into horror, so I didn't like finish it out, but the episodes that I'd watched, I thought were really cool. So this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to be doing it. And they also, I think, have a new writer, right? Let me see here. The new team puts, let's see here. Yeah, Michael Starberry, who earned an Emmy nominating the episode of Ava DuVernay's drama When They See Us has been hired to pen the new script. I thought that the guy from X-Men 97 was going to be like handling that. Maybe he's coming up with a story and he wants to do like story input, but it seems like this guy, Starberry, is going to be the guy that actually pens the script. But I believe in this article, they also mention that Mahershala Ali is going to have major input on it as well. As we talked about, he did not like the first script, and he was apparently furious at the notes that the last director, the one that's no longer the director, he was furious at like his notes and what he wanted to do with the movie, okay? So, the new team put the project back on track after losing its original director, Bassam Tariq, in September. The parting of ways was due to creative differences that occurred suddenly as the project was in pre-production heading towards a November production start in Atlanta. Rather than jamming another director in something that clearly needed an overhaul, Marvel pressed pause for a deeper look under the hood. I think they're pressing pause on a lot of stuff right now, which I think is super good. That means page one rewrites for the project, which had labored in the screenwriting phase. Ali was personally involved in selecting the writer, according to sources. So yeah, like, and again, I sort of view this as like Feige coming in, maybe potentially feeling as though, you know, Mahershala Ali could walk and being like, no. Like, what do we need to do to get him this back on track for you personally? Details are being kept under wraps, but sources say the new intent is for Blade to be dark and gritty in tone, falling on the edgier side of Marvel's fare, and maybe even find common shading with the fondly remembered Blade movies made in the early 2000s by New Line. So that is something that a lot of people are talking about as well, is the fact that this is going to like now be even more dark and edgy and gritty in tone. Kind of makes you wonder, what was the first version of this movie? We heard it was like period piece, you know, maybe having some stuff in the 1920s, maybe having some stuff in the 1980s. What was this original movie? Because dark, gritty, edgier side of Marvel, common shading with fondly remembered Blade movies from the early 2000s. I mean, doesn't that seem like what you would do? So, kind of interesting. What do you guys think? Right, Ross, like what? Like, that just feels like the move. So, I guess the real story, you know, they've got the director now. I liked Lovecraft Country. This isn't obviously a huge name. Maybe we don't necessarily need a huge name for Blade, but somebody that can work well within the genre, because obviously, you know, Lovecraft Country, which is kind of weird to say. I don't know if like I'm just super tired or something, but Lovecraft Country. Feels like my tongue wants to stick to the top of my mouth. Lovecraft. Is it? Are you guys saying that out loud right now? Wherever you're at, like if you're at work or on the bus or in the shower, are you guys trying? Lovecraft Country? Lovecraft Country? Oh, it's just me. Okay. Yeah, so it fits tonally. I think that's cool. Darker seems cool. The writer, again, seems cool. So for all intents and purposes, Blade back on track. Possibly still going to be super dope. So, yeah, people are talking about that and they think it's cool. The other thing that I definitely wanted to touch on, you know, just briefly give it a touch, is the Marvels. Let me see here. The Marvels sit. Okay, here it is. So this was leaked, I think, via a pillow, which is kind of funny. But here's like sort of this first look at the concept and the suit design for all of them in the Marvels. And I got to say, Monica looks great. You know, that's immediately what stood out to me. Monica looks awesome in that suit. I really like the Monica Rambeau character. Like, quite honestly, the thing I'm most anticipating in the movie is probably her, She was dope in WandaVision. Her powers also look visually great. Like, they're really freaking cool looking, right? Like, that part in WandaVision where she, like, walks through all the spectrums. Oh, shit. You guys can't see her. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Wait, what in God's name? Dude, there's some weird stuff going on with Streamlabs and DOS Internet and things of that nature. I'm telling you. But, yeah, I think she looks great. There you go. Now you can see it. Super cool. We'll see. We'll see about this movie and if it ends up being super dope. You know, I've heard some really weird things about it that kind of have me like, I don't know about that. But then I've also heard, like, it takes a lot of anime inspiration. They're trying to do some really bombastic, crazy things. So, look, you know, there's always a shot for it to be awesome. I am, of course, coming in with a little bit of skepticism, but who knows? Maybe it could be dope. And Monica's suit looks real cool. So yeah, that's like kind of all the news, guys. At least that's all the news that I saw out there that's kind of new. Can I... Give me just a second, because I'd like to adjust this just a little bit here. Might not be able to, which is super weird. Okay. That's the best I can do right there, okay? Sir Balgi. Welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger. Now, is Rob in the chat? What's up, Rob? I'm excited to check this video out, bro. I'm excited. All right, let's see. Let's now react to Rob's vid. And, of course, you should check out the full video of his if you want to just kind of get the experience of watching his take. I will, of course, be pausing, interjecting, giving commentary, etc., etc. But I definitely agree, I think, at the outset with what a lot of I've seen Rob say on social media. Phase 4 definitely lackluster in many ways. I'm sure there's some things in here that maybe I won't agree with. Maybe there's some takes I have that he wouldn't agree with. But I think for the most part, at the outset, we agree that Phase 4 had some issues. Phase 4, not the best. So
I am a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I feel like I should preface this video by saying that, because this is not going to be a video where I just hammer on the MCU for a while and then call it a day. And in fact, I've been a fan of Marvel Comics since I was a little kid. X-Men the Animated Series is really what got me into it all. And I picked up their comic books and have been reading ever since.
Yo, throw a 1 into the chat if the animated X-Men show was the gateway drug for you as well. Because I think that was actually for a lot of us. Like, I don't know if it was... I can't really differentiate in my mind between the 90s Spider-Man time and this X-Men show. But, like, I'm damn sure those two together, like, that was it. You know what I mean?
But as much as I love Marvel Comics and as much as I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I did not love Phase 4. And so in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about where I think Phase 4 went wrong. And I want to talk about what they could do, not so much to fix it, since it's already done, but what they can do in the future of the MCU to make sure they don't run into this problem again.
Fair. Fair take.
So first things first.
I like that. I like that. Dude, okay, so that was cool, man. It almost had like a nostalgic, some kind of documentary or something that you had to watch in school. But like, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Like, that had a cool vibe, man. Like the way it kind of punched in, had like the little effects and whatnot. That's cool.
Success of the MCU's
like
first three phases came from following a literary principle called the hero's journey. This process functions as a kind of circle. The hero lives in an ordinary world. They receive a call to adventure. They initially refuse the call but change their minds, after which they meet their mentor. Following this, they cross the threshold, meaning they're now committed to their task. Along the way, they face some threats, both minor and life-threatening. They approach what's called the innermost cave, also known as the location of the treasure. They seize the treasure, they start the journey home, and they find themselves being reborn through the journey they'd undertaken. Now, looking at the MCU...
You guys know I'm a sucker for little Joseph Campbell. A little hero's journey mono myth. You're talking my language.
Both the individual characters and the larger franchise experience this journey. On a broad scale, the ordinary world is a world with superpowered beings. This is best illustrated in Iron Man 1's post-credit scene when Nick Fury visits Tony Stark and says that he stepped into a much larger world. The same can be said when Captain America wakes up after 70 years, when Black Widow brings Mark Ruffalo's Hulk back to the field, or when Thor cannot lift his hammer. Now, the call to adventure is, of course, Nick Fury's Avengers initiative, and the refusal of the call is best highlighted when Mark Ruffalo questions whether or not the Avengers can even function as a team in the first Avengers film. Now, meeting their mentor doesn't really happen in the traditional sense, because there's no giant training montage where the group is taught to fight in a conventional way. Instead, this is found more through Captain America's wisdom, Thor becoming more humble, Wanda seeing Ultron for who he is, and stuff like that. The Avengers kind of become their own mentors, if we're being honest, although I guess a case could be made here for Phil Coulson, although I always felt like he was more of a mascot than a mentor. Now, the threats they face come from within and...
Yeah, that's true. I think I would say that Fury, especially in the early phases, absolutely functions as that mentor. And there are even moments like in Age of Ultron, like I think some people forget about the shed scene with him and Tony Stark, because like that is a really like mentor-esque moment, and like Fury was just there in the middle of a lot of conflict for the Avengers, a lot of conflict in just the MCU in general. And I remember at the time, because like now like the MCU is so like big and things are just kind of different and more grand, but back then him showing up then was like, oh my god. And then of course when he shows up at the end in Sokovia and all that shit, it's like really, really crazy too. Felt very comic booky, and Fury serves that role. In the main Marvel comics, Fury's not so much like that, you know what I mean? But in the MCU they sort of did build him up in that way.
And without. And they range from Loki's initial invasion in Avengers 1, Iron Man and Banner secretly creating Ultron in Avengers 2, Bucky Barnes being blamed for the death of T'Chaka in Captain America Civil War, or Eric Killmonger trying to start a race war in Black Panther 1. The innermost cave and the supreme ordeal are reflected in Thanos both acquiring and using the Infinity Stones, as well as the hero's time travel antics in retrieving the stones, restoring those who were snapped, and of course, the journey home is each of the characters dealing with the aftermath to Avengers Endgame in their own way. But the ability to follow this story on both the individual and macro level, that's what kept us coming back. We wanted to see the world through Captain America's eyes, 70 years removed from the life he'd known. Would he be able to make it in the modern age? We wanted to experience new places like Wakanda, and we were able to identify with Wanda's pain from losing the things that mattered most to her, because at some point in our lives, we've all been down that road before.
So before we continue with this video, we do want to say thank you to our sponsor, Atlas VPN. And right now, you can get a steal of a Black Friday deal, because now you can get Atlas VPN
Is Atlas
Premium
good, Rob?
for just $170 a month.
Maybe I'll
plus
use this
6 months
because I don't like my VPN.
with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And it's the best Atlas VPN offer of the year. So make sure you guys are quick, and make sure you get your deal by clicking on the link in the video description.
You can still go click on his link, by the way.
But for those of you guys who don't use a VPN, these things are dead useful. And I love using Atlas VPN because it's so affordable. But one of the great things about a VPN is like geo restriction. As a lot of you guys know, different companies out there will only allow certain parts of the world to access.
Yo, so you know, the one thing I just want to stop for a second, just because I get this thought out of my way before I like get into the next part. So for me, you know, I think I'm picking up what Rob is setting down, and I like the idea of the monomyth. I think there's this other aspect to it though, where it's like it really resonated with me when he's talking about how we're just experiencing the story as a whole. And I think that just, back in the day, man, like when you watched Marvel movies, it was like you were really living the next experience of a particular story. And especially like in that sort of window where the Avengers and all of their conflicts are basically in like a series of movies over and over again, like the Age of Ultron to Winter Soldier, Civil War, like that kind of like buildup. It really felt like it was all, not that it's all one story, even though it does feel like that, but that all the characters were also going through their own individual story arc that were very similar. You know what I mean? Captain America's leadership, that's a really good point, because that's a really interesting thing for Tony to sort of juxtapose his own character flaws against. But that's also why those two characters are so
different
cool.
types of content. And if you're an American
in Captain America
that decides
and
to
him.
travel abroad to some place like London and you can't access American content, using Atlas VPN will make that entirely possible for you. Now, this also comes with other benefits like being able to block malware, being able to hide your VPN from other services. And it's insanely cool because it actually keeps companies from tracking you, which is really one of the better things.
That is good.
So again, with the Black
You
Friday
don't
deal
want
they're running,
companies
you can
tracking
get
you.
Atlas VPN Premium for just $170 a month plus 6 months extra with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And again, it's the best Atlas VPN offer
Rob.
of the year.
Wait a minute, Rob. What the fuck is this? Are you doing the thing where you're trying to get us? You're trying to punch us? What the fuck is this? Is this some kind of joke?
So make sure you guys are quick and get your deal by clicking the link below inside the video description, because it really is a limited time offer. But with that being said, guys, let's get back into our video.
The problem with Phase 4, at least in my mind, is that on a franchise level, while the journey was over, the MCU kept moving forward in a way that assumed the journey never ended, despite Endgame concluding with a finality. In fact, I've heard some compelling arguments about how the MCU could have just shut its doors following Avengers Endgame and it would have felt right. And in fact, I agree with a lot of these arguments.
What?
If they shut down when Avengers...
No way, Rob. There's no way. And also, too, you know what this is also giving me some vibes of, to be honest? Same thing kind of happened with Secret Wars a little bit, where, like, coming out of Hickman's Secret Wars, like, it almost felt like a definitive end for Marvel Comics. And I've even heard interviews where Hickman talks about this. And he talks about how, like, in some ways people blame him for having such a final ending and then Marvel just continuing on. It is interesting.
Endgame was done, it would have just felt natural. From where I'm sitting, in Phase 4, the MCU wanted to introduce new characters while simultaneously building into the next series of events. The problem with this is a simple one. It burns people out. Leaving out the hero's journey analysis, the simplicity of phases 1 through 3 was that on a loose level, phase 1 gave us the good guy facing a villain with similar powers. Phase 2 had the hero facing a villain from their past, and phase 3 had the hero facing an arch nemesis. Now, there are some exceptions to this since origin films were spread throughout all 3 phases, but the overall franchise was easy to follow. Not only that, we all knew where the ending was headed.
That's true.
But being on the journey and seeing how they got there, that was half the excitement. The thing of it is...
So, you know what? It's like crazy. I just have so many thoughts on this. So, like, I hear what he's saying for sure. To me, there's a little bit of caked in... Like, one of the differences in, like, the early Marvel stuff and what we're experiencing now is that there was a sense of, oh, shit, somebody's finally getting comic book movies right. I want to see what they do with this comic book thing. Because, like, for a time, like, there was just a lot of whack stuff in comic book movies. So Marvel felt like they were getting it right. And so many of us, like, when it even came to, like, Captain America or, like, The Winter Soldier or Civil War, the thing was, oh, shit, like, what's Marvel Studios going to do with this, that, second, and the third, right? So there's, like, this different kind of nostalgic draw to it. And I get what he's saying about burnout. I don't know that it's the case that it's because of the like arcing out the characters, if that makes sense. But let's go on.
All of this happened over the course of 10 years. On the other hand, when I look at shows like Hawkeye, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk, I see Marvel trying to cram a main star, their supporting cast, their origins, their motivations, and their powers into a 6 to 9 episode arc.
That's true. Like... yeah, that's
to give you guys a frame of reference, for a lot of the characters, their redemption arc, the things that made them who they were, their motivations, their powers, and so on, it took multiple films to fully flesh that out. Films like Eternals seem to focus more on the cinematic and serious tone of a superhero film, which is not a terrible thing, but it did this while having very little substance, which is a problem. And other projects like Loki, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange 2 were trying to move the franchise forward. It just feels like too much. And in some cases, it felt like quantity over quality.
Mm-hmm. I think I think that's absolutely the case. Like, I've been thinking a lot about like just Disney Plus, especially like since yesterday when Iger gets let go, and you're like, the fuck, like Disney Plus is it's the most growth that a streaming platform has had, and yet it's losing Disney so much money that they're like panicking and like trying to bring in Bob Iger to like figure it out. And like, make no mistake, like one of the things Bob Iger has to figure out is what projects are they actually going to make on Disney Plus, and what are they going to spend on them? And we're no longer in the age of like, oh, people love Marvel, like let's crank out some Marvel shows and crank out some Marvel movies. You know what I mean? Like, that shit just simply is not working. And I've heard Rob say before in videos that like some of this might have to do with the Marvel formula, which is kind of, a formula and somewhat basic, that the more you like do that in a year, the more that formula fatigues you out. And it's almost like if it, because even in phase 2, Marvel had to pivot because there were movies that they weren't hitting. They felt like too paint by numbers sequel. You know what I mean? And so Feige then pivots and he's like, no, you need big ideas, profound things in each and every movie. That's when you sort of see that shift into really amping up a lot of these stories and the conflicts and things like that. Marvel right now needs to pivot faster, because instead of like a phase that's over the course of 2 years that has like 5 movies, and then like, even 4 movies, right? I think back in the day it was just 4. It was like 2 a year. And then like you can really pivot that shit slowly. When you're cranking out like 7 projects a year or some shit, or whatever Marvel's doing at this point, these problems happen way faster. People fatigue or burn out way faster.
All that being said, since I'm not Reddit or Twitter, I don't want to just complain about a problem. Right? I want to offer a solution to that.
Yes,
problem.
what's the solution, Rob?
And so about halfway through phase 4, I started thinking about this. People often ask how the MCU could top Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, how could
Honestly, I think that's the wrong question to ask. The question should not be, how do we top Avengers Endgame? The question should be, how do we restart this journey and get back to the feeling that came with Avengers Endgame?
The feeling that came with Avengers
Now, keeping this relatively short, I know this is going to be controversial, and I'm sure some people are going to disagree with it.
Controversial?
But I would not have made any of the projects that we got in Phase 4, although I guess that's a little bit of an overstatement. Loki, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange 2, I would have pushed back to Phase 5, with Loki being the official start of the multiverse saga. Everything else gets the axe. Instead, I would have launched 2 shows in Phase 4, Marvel 2-in-1 and Marvel Spotlight. Now, Marvel 2-in-1 was a title that Marvel used back in the 1970s, and technically...
I gotta say, I didn't see this shit coming. Colored me interested.
It was a team-up comic, but we wouldn't really be doing any team-up stories. Instead, it would be a mini-series that would run for 1 month with a different episode each week. And each episode would be 30 minutes long with 2 15-minute segments. Segment 1 would introduce a character, and segment 2 would do the same. To give you some perspective on what this would look like, imagine the scenes from Werewolf by Night after they capture Jack Russell and then put him in a cage. Everybody comes in with torches, talking about how they hunt down and kill monsters. Eventually, Jack is...
You know what? I gotta say, like, I'm like almost thinking ahead of like what he's saying a little bit, and I apologize about that. But dude, I kind of like the idea. Like, just imagine if instead of like, oh shit, like it's She-Hulk and we're gonna like watch the She-Hulk show. Imagine if Marvel was just like, yo, for the next 12 weeks, each week, a new one-shot, like half-hour to hour-long episode that's going to introduce a new character, a new element within Marvel. Like, I mean, that would from a production place, like that seems kind of difficult because you'd have to like do a lot, build a lot, cast a lot, shoot a lot and stuff like that. But at a base level, just from the perspective of a fan, fuck yeah, dude.
Escapes, kills.
And it would also, and I'll stop pausing, I'm sorry. It would also solve the problem of people, it could solve the burnout problem. It could also solve the problem of people, if they don't like a thing, feeling like that's the only thing for set amount of time, and then you sort of get wrapped up in the conversation
pretty
about
much everybody,
not liking
and
that
then
thing.
takes off into the woods. Roll credits. Another segment would introduce She-Hulk in a similar fashion. Following this, I would just sit back and watch. The characters that people talk about the most would continue to make appearances in the MCU. The others wouldn't. Now, maybe these appearances would come in the form of a movie cameo or a cameo in another show, but the purpose of the series would be to introduce a new character in such a way that it's both easy to follow, but teases just enough to make the audience want more.
Yeah. I like that.
Now, moving beyond this, if Marvel 2-in-1 gives us some fresh faces, what's the point of Marvel Spotlight? Well, the reality here is that Marvel Spotlight would wrap up the plot threads and answer some of our burning questions from the projects that we've gotten so far. In this instance, phases 1 through 3. What did Steve Rogers' life with Peggy Carter look like?
You know what's so funny about this shit too? Is like the reason this is such a good idea is because all of these burning fucking questions that we've had since phase 3 have never been directly addressed or like answered properly. You know what I mean? And like instead of like all of that kind of like, ooh, what is this or what about this? And like speculation is like, no, like address that shit. I kind of like that.
Did he tell her Hydra was secretly replacing S.H.I.E.L.D.? Did they have kids? Did he meet Captain Britain Brian Braddock? Find out in Marvel Spotlight, Captain America. What did Bruce Banner see in Avengers 2 Age of Ultron when Scarlet Witch messed with his mind? Find out in Marvel Spotlight, The Incredible Hulk. What did it look like when Clint Barton was running around killing villains as Ronin in the 5-year gap between...
I just want to pause for a second to say nothing so that the sour fruit gets really triggered.
between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Find out in Marvel Spotlight, Hawkeye. Now, I chose this route for a simple reason. If we treat the MCU like a relationship, and as anybody who's been around the block a few times would tell you, you have to have something or a series of things that give you a life outside of your relationship. This does two things. It helps you maintain your sense of self, but it also gives you a chance to miss each other. The second is what applies the most here. Honestly, the MCU hasn't given us a chance to miss them, and the post-Avengers Endgame landscape was the perfect time to do that. Again, I don't think that walking away from producing content entirely is a good idea, and even then, I doubt Disney would actually let Marvel do that. But giving people just enough content to remember you, but not enough content to feel burned out is key. It's a delicate balancing act.
I definitely agree with that shit. Like, and they have just not, like, it just obviously was not the right formula to throw all of that content out in the past couple of years. And I think that for a lot of it to not feel substantive as well is part of the issue.
And while Phase 4 is over...
what the fuck is this scene, bro? Where they all get Thor powers?
I truly believe that this is a strategy that would work for the future of the MCU after every major event that they launch, which includes Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think of this plan? Is it one that you agree with? Is it one that you think would work? Or do you think it's just crazy and madness? Let me know down in the comments.
It's a little crazy. It's a little bit of madness, but I also like it. So shout out to Rob. I thought that was a good video. Guys, if you want to go over to his vid, watch it through without the pauses if you're that one guy that was getting upset about that. And also leave a comment. You know, he leaves it with sort of a prompt asking what you think about his sort of plan. And I'll sort of linger on that for a second as well. And then I'll talk about, like, you know, what I agree with and what I disagree with about the video. I think I like his idea, and most of all, I like the intention of the idea. It feels like Rob kind of isolated or gave a lot of thought to what are the particular problems of Phase 4 and how do you solve them. And I really like the sort of relationship thing that he said. Missing it and really wanting it and that kind of a thing, that's totally true, and I get it. And the idea of, because like they're in an interesting spot. Right? They're in an interesting spot. Disney, but Marvel, of course, you know, is the focus of this. The Disney Plus service still needs to provide content and value throughout the year, right? Like, it can't just be a babysitting app and also like your Disney Vault. Because frankly, you're going to realize, like, consumers will just realize that they don't really need that 365, you know, like they could maybe whenever they want for a month, or maybe they decide like, yo, I want to watch a bunch of Marvel movies. They could then get it for a month and then watch all the Marvel movies. You know what I mean? So they need content. But I think the sort of mandate of like putting all this content out there and the way they tried to like recreate the MCU cinematic experience, like in a show with like the long arcs and like those character introductions, I don't think that that's good. And I like Rob's idea of like kind of taking all this stuff that they want to do and combining it. So this would allow the big narratives, those big MCU narratives to mostly exist in the movie theater, sort of preserving that experience and perhaps creating some, I missed that experience, and so I want that experience. And then with this content that, again, you need to crank out for Disney Plus, you could do these sort of combos, like the 2-in-1s, and the spotlights. And I sort of like the idea of having a blocked out section of streaming content that actually addresses a whole bunch of different characters and a whole bunch of different things, whether they be like the questions that we have about the MCU or all of these new characters and how they're interacting as well. So I kind of dig that, actually. I think that could be cool, and maybe Marvel will, because that's almost like What If, but What If then becomes a narrative thing with this Doctor Strange that is actually kind of dope as well, so I don't know. And then as far as his take on the problem with Phase 4, so I think Rob's kind of making the case that they set up such a perfect hero's journey end story for most of the characters that sort of lingering or trying to recreate that experience after such a good ending is like not working. To me, I feel like that's part of the problem, but that's not the problem completely. Like, Phase 4 feels very inconsequential. And even in the sense that, like, you're taking a step back. I totally understand that. Like, after doing Infinity War and Endgame, I think it's appropriate to take a step back. But think about the films and the shows. They don't really address what the world looks like post-Endgame. I mean, I think the movie that does this the best is actually still a part of Phase 4, and it's the Spider-Man Far From Home movie, where he is directly affected by the loss of Tony, and it lingers on that loss and the loss of the Avengers and things of that nature. And then other than that, a lot of these other movies feel like they just move on. And they're also not tied together in the same way that the MCU movies are tied together, right? Because there's so much going on. There's not as much consideration for how it's all connected. So I think really a big problem with it was not having that connective tissue, which I think was created because of the Disney Plus shows and because of just how ambitious they were with, what they wanted to put out there and whatnot. So I get his point, but I don't know that I agree that that's the entire issue. I will also say that, like, I love the mono myth, but one of the things that is so cool about comics is that there's mono myth after mono myth after mono myth. The sort of retelling and recycling of this stuff is a part of the fun. And I've always thought that, like, as a big difference between something like Star Wars, that's like very deeply connected to that kind of myth and that direct hero's journey, comic books have, to me, mostly been different and approaching things in a very like different way. Like Stan Lee, he had this thing he said once where he said, part of the joy of the Marvel Comics experience is putting the heroes in such a position that you can't fathom how they would get out of it. It seems impossible, right? But because they're the heroes, in the back of your mind, they will. And the dance and the sort of tension of great comic book stories, to me, has always been that sort of balance between, well, I know the heroes are going to win, and so I need to keep reading through this, but damn, they keep getting their asses kicked, or damn, it seems bad, and damn, I just can't physically see how they get through this, and then some weird comic book bullshit ass grab thing happens, and you're like, oh shit, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of my more take on like that mythos and that sort of monomyth stuff. You know what I mean? But I do appreciate it, and I thought it was a cool video. So what should we watch next? What should we do now? What do you open up the ask a question feature? Okay, yeah, let's do it. Do a Q&A thing. Boom. There you go. Let your voice be heard. I think it was a cool video. Again, I think Rob is trying a new thing with Geek Culture Explained. And I say keep going, man. That was cool. It was cool. Wakanda Forever pitch meeting. Is that what we should do next? French toast, pancakes, or waffles? I mean, it kind of depends, but waffles. Great idea. Love the ideas and solutions presented, says Christopher. I like the new format, but in the promised quality. I feel like he kind of misses the whole point of the journey to the end. I don't get it. I feel like he kind of misses the whole point of the journey to the end. Interesting. Video was interesting, but overall, it wouldn't work with the one-off specials. Okay. I think it would be challenging for sure from a productions standpoint. Like, I don't know how you say, because even the Disney Plus thing, right, has felt a little bit low-key like a diss, right? Like, oh, hey, well, you're going to be in the MCU and we're going to give you a Disney Plus show. Like, some people are like, what the fuck? Like, what about a movie or something? Or what about, like, a television show? Like, what is this? So it's already a little weird, but imagine going to somebody being like, yo, you're coming into the MCU and we want you to shoot, and you're getting a 45-minute show in a series of 10 episodes or something like that. You know what I mean? Will Ant-Man 3 underdeliver? I think it's possible, but I also think that they've made some changes to the movie that sound really fucking cool. So we'll see. She-Hulk pitch meeting. We already watched that the other week, but would you ever do a video about how you would do Secret Wars in the MCU? Certain plot points, lead characters, moments, etc. Oh, yeah, for sure. This stream doesn't show up in my subscriptions. Well, that sounds weird. I don't know what to tell you, brother. We're here at the same time. Same time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. I love Rob's take for Disney Plus, but how do you fit major movies into that formula? Yeah, I think I think you need to slow it down to 3 movies a year. I wouldn't do more than 3 movies a year, which I think is kind of what they're doing anyway. I would do like 2 to 3 shows a year, maybe. And I would really focus on quality. What characters would you select for a hypothetical first season of 2-in-1? I mean, I can't necessarily say who I would want for like 2-in-1s. To me, like, imagining a lot of the characters that we actually already got in the Disney Plus shows would be kind of cool. Like a Hawkeye episode that encapsulates a lot of what the Hawkeye show was. Just take what's her face completely out of it, like Yelena, and just make it Clint and Kate, and do it really more with the bros and Maya and Kingpin and all that sort of stuff, and just make it like an hour. And I think that show would slap. You know, same with She-Hulk, same with Moon Knight, you know. Probably also help with the visual effects as well. Maybe not. I don't know. The biggest problem is the quality of Phase 4. They need to focus more on less content. It seems like they underwrote everything. Spotlight thing is cool, but I don't think it would work. Yeah. Mano says, I like Rob's videos, and it's great that you are reviewing and giving your thoughts. Would you ever consider the same for Campia, Everything Always in Grace, etc.? Yeah, for sure. I think that's what we want to do on Tuesdays now, is I want to break down other videos. Well, not break down. I want to just react to them and give my thoughts. You know what I mean? So I figured we'd start with this one. Maybe we'll watch a few others today as well. Low-key worries about Secret Wars will disappoint. I need Phase 4 therapy group. Yeah. Trust me, I get it, man. I get why people would be skeptical of Secret Wars. I understand. Did you see the Reddit post last week on Marvel Studio spoilers about an early plot leak of Kang Dynasty? It also had the future Marvel slate. Yeah, I don't think that's true, actually. I actually recorded a whole video about that, bro. I recorded a whole video about that, and then I was like, nah, that shit ain't true. Let's see here. Do you feel that these new characters weren't earned? Previous new characters were pretty teased before their appearances. Not earned. I don't know if that's the case, bro. Like, I don't see why that necessarily would be a problem. Because like you could just do new characters, right? I don't know. Like, there's a little bit of, I agree that like the magic kind of seemed to be pulled out. And I think it's because the Disney Plus shows just felt so pale in comparison to what we got in the Marvel movies. And then when you also introduce like a lot of new ideas all at once, like Eternals is a wildly different movie than most MCU movies. Even Shang-Chi, which is probably one of the most MCU feeling movies in this thing, it still kind of feels like a movie that should have been in phase 1 or 2. Like, there's something to what Rob was saying as far as them all being at the same stage of the hero's journey together. And, like, you know, origin, first conflict, and, you know, all of that together. And, like, Shang-Chi just kind of feels a little out of time. Same with, like, Black Widow. Like, so when you come out of, like, phase 3 and you have this idea of what phase 4 is going to be, and then you get the shows that aren't as good, you get the movies that don't feel the same, you don't have that many familiar faces, and you got all these new things popping up. Like, that's just a lot of new all at once, which is tough. You know? Midnight Suns, will I stream any? Yeah, I will. When's that come out? A couple of weeks? Comes out in December, right? Can you please shit on Andor for me? I'm gonna wait until I watch the last 2 episodes, and then we'll do some discussions of Andor. Who's your pick for the Illuminati lineup in the 616 universe? Reed, Doc Strange, maybe Rhodey? Like, it depends. I have this theory about Rhodey, and I'm really interested to see how they handle this. But I actually think that War Machine might be one of the most powerful people in Marvel right now. Because I think he has a lot of Stark tech. I think he may well have a high position in the government. And I sort of low-key think... Yeah, so I could see Rhodey being in it. Who else? Maybe Namor? Namor? I would say Shuri. I don't know, bro. I don't know about that. Like, is it Shuri? Is it M'Baku? No, it's fucking T'Challa, and that's what it should be. But, alas. I don't know. That's an interesting question. Likelihood of a Kang or a variant in Loki Season 2. Also, will the Squadron Supreme be in the show? Man, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I'm going to end this Q&A too. I don't know about that, only because... yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know. So what should we watch next, guys? Yo, Josh, who would be in the Illuminati? We just went over that. Do you think they call it the MCU in a derogatory sense? Our senses are a minority among hardcore fans. Do you think those calling it the MCU? That's an interesting question, right? Are they a minority within the fan base? Here's what I would say. This is my notion of this. I don't know for sure, right? Just some dude on the internet. But here's the notion that I have. I think that it's maybe a small group of people that will throw around that phrasing, MCU, in a really derogatory, really negative way. I think the circle gets a little bit bigger when you have people that will bring that up as a negative, but aren't necessarily like super flippant with it or flagrant and like, going on other people's videos and like fucking MCU. But yeah, maybe they like agree that that's an issue. Then there's an even wider circle of folks that think calling it the MCU is stupid as fuck, but also acknowledge that Marvel needs to do a better job with their male characters, right? So that group of people, which is like a couple of circles out from the people you're describing, I think is a relatively large portion of the fan base. And I think that Marvel should pay attention to that shit. What are we watching next? What are we watching next? Will Rhodey have nanotech for his suit? Oh, God, I hope so, dude. Nanotech looks sick. Dragon Ball? Wait, didn't somebody say a pitch meeting? Not the She-Hulk one? Wakanda Forever pitch meeting? Okay. Okay, Wakanda Forever pitch meeting. Let's go. Let's go. 3 days ago. Okay. Buckle up. I love these vids, man. This guy's a super talented, super funny guy. Super funny guy. Here we go.
So, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir, I do. It's a sequel to a super popular movie, and it's gonna have blue people underwater.
But Avatar 2? Marvel doesn't make those, you silly goose.
No, actually, I'm talking about Black Panther 2.
Oh, okay.
Did he almost just say, you silly bitch? Yo, you should have said it. You should have called him a silly bitch.
Okay, yeah, no, that series is in our repertoire.
That's not how it's pronounced. So anyway, obviously, we're gonna start the movie with a nice tribute to Chadwick Boseman. You know, the Marvel logo is just gonna be him.
Of course.
And in the movie, T'Challa's gonna pass away from an illness, and Shuri's gonna be trying to save him by making that heart-shaped herb synthetically, but she's not gonna manage.
Wow.
Yeah, so throughout the
Wow.
movie, Shuri and the Wakandans are kind of dealing with the passing of T'Challa while also dealing with this new threat that emerges.
Oh, what's the threat?
Oh, it's freaking Namor.
How do you pronounce that?
You know, everybody in the movie's gonna say it differently. I guess
It's
there's
true.
no
It's true. All these people are like, it's Namor. I'm like, did the Wakandans say Namor the whole fucking movie? Can we stop with the like, it's actually pronounced this way, and if you don't pronounce it that way, you are a horrible person.
wrong way to say it.
No, I'm gonna pronounce it Nyamor.
Okay, no, maybe there is a wrong way.
Like a hungry little kid asking for seconds of his favorite dessert. Nyamor. Is that cool?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely not cool.
Well, okay then. So why does this guy want to fight Wakanda?
Well, it's a long story, but see, this guy's the leader of a secret underwater nation called Talocan, and they also have vibranium, right?
Now that's the stuff that makes all the cool things do all the cool things.
Yeah, and since Wakanda told the whole world about vibranium,
Totally.
the CIA started looking for some with a vibranium detecting machine.
What does that machine do?
It detects vibranium.
That's probably why they called it that.
That's absolutely why it's called that, sir. And since the CIA found some vibranium underwater, Namor is like, hey, Wakanda, this is your fault. What the heck?
Oh.
So he's like, now you gotta go get me the scientist that made the machine.
I mean, if the machine was purchased by the CIA, they probably already looked into how to make more. What's the point of getting the scientist girl?
So we can introduce Riri Williams to
True.
the MCU
a little bit
before her
true
show
there.
premieres on
A little bit
Disney
true,
Plus.
true.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is urgent. Get her in here real quick.
So Namor just kind of shows up in Wakanda and says all this to Shuri and the Queen.
Do they not have security for the waterways headed into Wakanda?
I mean, they must, but Namor's so good, he bypasses them.
Yeah.
How does he manage that?
With his, water skills, I guess. It's off screen, so he just comes and goes as he pleases.
Coming and going as you...
That's true. I do wonder a little bit about that, right? Like, how does he just sneak past all their defenses? I guess they just never thought somebody would swim underwater and try to come in that way. But then they have that weird force fieldy thing. Maybe his vibranium allows him to get through the force fieldy thing.
please, is tight.
Sure. So now Shuri and Okoye have to go get Riri or Wakanda's gonna be attacked.
Why don't they send more backup with them?
Unclear, but so then Shuri and Riri get taken to Talocan underwater.
Uh-oh, tough to breathe underwater.
And so Namor shows Shuri how beautiful his nation is.
Tough to
tells her
breathe
his
underwater.
Origin story and why he hates everybody.
Understandable.
I didn't even tell you why he hates everybody.
I know, I get it.
Okay, that's alarming. So anyway,
Dude,
he's like,
low
hey, we
key,
should team up
I
and
get it
burn
as well.
the world down. And if you refuse, I'm gonna destroy Wakanda first.
They're gonna wage war with the entire planet?
Yeah.
How do they plan on taking on landlocked countries with beluga whales and hot air balloons?
Well, I wouldn't laugh, sir. You know what they say about
my
beluga
man said
whales. You never
beluga
know when
whales
they're gonna strike.
and hot air balloons. You gotta know, when he wrote that in the script, he had himself a good day. When he came up with that line, if he didn't pat himself on the back, man, he's not, giving himself enough credit. That was beautiful.
Right.
That's not true.
It might be. So anyway, eventually Nakia comes and rescues them, and they head back to Wakanda.
Nice.
But then Namor and his people are gonna attack, and they've got water, they've got fish, they've got really good singers that'll make you kill yourself.
What?
And Namor has tiny little wings.
That shit was dope, though. That shit was dope. With the singing to make them come up. I was like, that was genuinely super cool.
And then he drowns the queen.
Oh my god.
Oh
Yeah,
my
then he tells
God.
Shuri, all right, I'm gonna give you guys some time to regroup, okay? Does a week sound good? I'm gonna head out for a week or so.
Why would he do that?
So they have time to prepare for the final battle of the movie.
Okay.
So then Shuri freaking figures out how to synthesize that flower, and she becomes the Black Panther.
Oh, wow.
And she gives Okoye a weird Power Ranger suit, and they make Riri a suit.
Is everybody just kind of getting suits now?
That's right, sir. Several people are kinda Iron Man now.
Wow, and how did they get all that done in such a short amount of time?
Montage.
Gotcha.
So now it's time for the big
Montage,
final
that's true.
battle, and they figured out their
What
plan
did you
of
guys
attack.
think of the montage in the movie? I actually thought it wasn't bad. Like, it was cool. It's a little like, but it reminded me of the Science Bros. The Science Bros montage.
What's their plan?
They're gonna head out to the ocean and fight the ocean guy and his people there.
Isn't that the enemy's home turf?
Yes.
Isn't that where the enemy will have the biggest advantage?
Oh, absolutely.
That doesn't seem like the best plan.
Well, that's the one they're going with. Also, they realize if they dry Namor, they can weaken him a bit.
But what, are they gonna attack him with a blow dryer?
No, that'd be ridiculous.
All right.
It's more of like a space heater type thing.
Oh, okay.
So the Wakandans head to the ocean for this fight and, really get their butts kicked.
Yeah, because that's where the enemy's at their strongest.
Do you know what always bothered me about the movie? I say always bothered me about the movie, but I watched it twice. Why does Namor... So they suck him in to that ship, right? And he just, can't leave, and he just stays in there? Like, I gotta be... Like, it felt a little bit like when you get teleported into a ship in the middle of a battle, I don't know that you stand there and look out the front or whatever he did. You know what I mean? Like, I would probably get out of there. And if he's really, as strong as the Hulk with a vibranium spear, just get the fuck out of there,
Sure,
dude.
for sure. But Shuri's gonna manage to dry Namor off a little bit and get him on land, so they're gonna fight while he's weakened.
Oh, great.
But then she gets badly impaled, right through her.
Oh my god, well, it's gonna be impossible for her to beat this guy with that kind of injury.
Actually, it's gonna be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because check this out. What she does is she's
So check
fine
this out.
immediately.
Oh.
Yeah, all good right away, so...
But what about the severe impaling wound?
Hey, shut up. So then she's about to kill
Shut up,
this guy,
son.
but then she's like, hey, what about an alliance? And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, sure, an alliance.
And she trusts the word of this guy who just killed her mom and made that promise under the threat of death?
Yes.
Well, great.
And so, yeah, then we find out that the Black Panther had a kitten, and we're done.
What?
So what do you think?
Well, it sounds like a great movie and a nice tribute to Chadwick Boseman.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is gonna fit right in with all the other fantastic movies we'll be releasing in 2022.
Oh, yeah, people are gonna love them all, sir.
Yeah, fair. Thought that was a good one. Pretty funny. Yeah, there's some interesting things in that film, for sure. Overall, pretty good. I think one of the stronger movies in the MCU Phase 4. Absolutely. That was good. What did Ross say? Shuri had two stomachs, like the Grand Inquisitor. Aw, shit. That's true. I didn't think of that. Ah, man. Why couldn't I have thought of that? What do you guys want to do? Do you want to watch one more? Or do you want to just kind of get into Q&A and call it? Oh, shit. Go over the MODOK Funko? The MODOK Funko. I mean, what about it? It just shows his big golden face. Screen crush theory on how Wakanda Forever sets up Secret Wars. Is that a long video? I know they do, I know Ryan does pretty long videos. That's like probably like a 20-some minute video. Let's watch Reading Rainbow. That does kind of sound fun. I always thought she upgraded her suit to heal herself. That could be. No, the Grand Inquisitor has 2 hearts, not 2 stomachs. No, he has 2... Wait, what? No, he has 2 stomachs. Did you hear a bunch of Disney execs were at Elton John concert when the news dropped and Chapek was supposed to introduce Elton John but didn't show? What? No way. Is that true? No way, bro. Did you watch the last Avatar 2 trailer? Yeah, I liked the Avatar 2 trailer. I thought it was cool. Wait. Wait. What's your top 3 comic book movies coming out next year? I mean, I'm excited for Quantumania. I don't even know. Like, what the fuck is even coming out next year? What are the end of year movies? 'Cause I know you got the Marvels in July, I think, right? What's the one? What's the John Wick 4, but that technically doesn't count. Ooh, D&D movie, that doesn't count. Across the Spider-Verse, of course. Spider-Verse has to be very high on the list. Spider-Verse! What's the winter Marvel movie? Is there one or no? Is there no winter movie? Yeah, Deadpool's in 2024, I believe. You want to see me review the MODOK like I did for the Marvel pillow? No, I've never read Cyberforce. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Okay, yeah, I'd put that high. I would honestly say, bro, that Across the Spider-Verse might be number 1. It's either Across the Spider-Verse or Quantumania. I'm really excited to see more Kang. I want to kind of get more of that multiversal flavor and see what's going on with that. Across the Spider-Verse sounds dope as hell. I'm not like super keen on any of the DC stuff, like Aquaman 2. Sure, I'll check it out. Yeah, and then Guardians. I mean, Guardians is probably gonna be pretty good. You sure it's not Shrek 5? Oh, dude, yeah, of course. Shrek 5 would be dope. Are you kidding me? Is that confirmed? Are we? Is that happening? Is that what we're doing? All right, how was about we just get into some Q&A and kind of end it going over whatever questions you guys want to go over. I want to go over the super chat, or rather the super thanks from yesterday that Kiwi put on the video, and he asks, does The Rock still refuse to confirm whether he is ingenious, metamorphic, or sedimentary? That feels like a geologist joke. And I also feel like it's like a very, very niche crowd that would get that. But he did the super thanks, so I wanted to go over that question. So there you go, Kiwi. Shout out to you, bruh. Okay, let's get into the questions today. Matthew K says, okay, hang on, let me put that down just a little bit. Matthew K says, you watching Polska in the World Cup today? Nah, probably not, man. Just not all that interested in the World Cup, to be honest. Leon says, mental health check. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing well. I'm tired, though. I'm going to take a big old nap. Oh, my God. This guy says, Josh, you totally took that joke for granted. Okay. Darth Ghost Rider with a $10 holler says, YouTube's been tripping. It's like hiding streams for me. They not in the sub box. I clicked your live channel. It was there. I only found you on the homepage. Nerd Adventures for life. Yeah, I don't know. I think YouTube is in the process of like changing up the way that streams, videos, and shorts go out into the YouTube ecosystem. So there could be some problems going on with regards to that. But again, we're here, and I know we've changed the times up a little bit recently. So maybe some people are like, bro, you're not consistently here. But it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if you're a member, and Thursday and Friday all at 11. So there you go. I'm sorry if I was too much on Nerd Theory last night. No, you're good, D-Man. It's all good, brother. Sir Balgi, again, welcome to the Nerd Ventures. Seconds from Disaster says, I feel like a lot of the problems of Phase 4 have to do with upper management. Things will get better now that Iger is back. Feige will regain control. Maybe. I mean, look, he's already, even before the Iger stuff, it seemed like Kevin Feige was already shifting things around. There was that big pause. They delayed a bunch of movies. You know, he's juicing up the Blade movie. He's juicing up Thunderbolts. He's juicing up Captain America 4, you know? How about a little Harrison Ford Red Hulk? You know, all these things. So I think he's addressing the problems. And I do think the quantity over quality is one of the problems. So, I mean, maybe Iger can sort of help that continue. But, I mean, he was already doing that. You know what I mean? Remember, too, Bob Iger is the guy that invented Disney+. Like, that's his baby, essentially. And so some of whether or not Disney+ destroys Disney or not is, that's kind of on him. You know, so I think that's also maybe a part of the reason he came back. Dirt Wizard with a $10 holler says, I like having the shows on Disney Plus for sure, but maybe they should only do 2 big shows a year to get better quality and maybe a couple of special presentations sprinkled in. Great stream. Hey, thanks, brother. Yeah, I think I think they do need to go more quality. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's weird because they're shooting Daredevil like all year next year, and it's going to be 18 episodes. That's wild, bro. That's a lot of episodes. If they run that shit weekly, that's 18 weeks. That's wild, bro. You know? And it might be like more mature. There might be longer episodes. And it feels like they're putting so much into that show and they understand what it can be. But it feels like other shows are not getting that same treatment. Like from what we're hearing, the Echo show is a total mess, dude. Like, people are reporting that Echo show's production is bad. You know? Why isn't it? Look, if you're going to do an Echo show, I say give it as much effort and energy as you give the Daredevil show. Like, you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, cut that shit down and make it more quality. Old Head Mike's Metalcore and More, member for 19 months, says, don't stop pausing the videos. That's how reactions work. That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Then you'll just be talking over it. Yeah, true. And thank you, brother. Mano says, not gassing you here, but you are everything a YouTube channel should be. Content/engagement on fleek. Here's a couple of $1 donation wipes for Liam. Hey, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel good about the content. I feel good about what we're doing, and we're trying new things, and we're trying different things as well. So, reactions on Tuesdays, it's kind of the thing I want to do, and I'm sure we'll get better at it as we go. But it's kind of just like fun. Like, just sit back, react to the video, engage on it together. Like, certain videos, I think, make waves in our space, and I think it's like cool to watch them together, react to them, and hang out. Dirty Nap says, I laughed really hard when Theory said, do you think KK is a boss bitch? And you said, well, she's a bitch. Yeah, true. Much love, brother. Mr. Boner with a $5 holler says, on behalf of Andor fans like myself, thanks for the apology on Nerd Theory. You have our apologies as well, and glad to have you back. Yeah, no, for sure. it's all good, and I understand being passionate, and I meant the apology. You know what I mean? And then Theory's like, you don't have to apologize. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Don't make it about that. I just wanted to apologize. And so I appreciate the words. Ross says, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special Watch Party Thursday night or nah. Does that drop Thursday night? Like Thursday at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. rather? Is that when they're doing that? Disney crashed. Barely an inconvenience. React to my reactions, and then I'll make a reaction to reaction of my reaction. Of course. Put it on the list. You ever come to Mass, Josh? Yeah, occasionally. My mom lives in Boston, so yeah, I go to Boston. Usually I'd like to go to Boston for Christmas. I won't be going this year. Just with the new baby and everything, like we're kind of just sticking at home for a lot of these things. Dude, I gotta fix this chat. This chat is driving me crazy. Like the way it like pauses and then it's like and like it all blows up. Shit's annoying, dude. Do we think Scarlet Witch solo movie will be House of M plotline? I don't know, man. I would like that a lot. I think they should do something with her and the mutants. Absolutely, whenever they get ready to do the mutants. But they've done a lot of the things from House of M in various ways throughout WandaVision and now Multiverse of Madness. So it's like kind of tough. Like, they gonna keep going back to that? Well, it's coming out Friday. Children's Crusade, I thought. Well, so apparently the word is they're gonna adapt parts of Children's Crusade in Agatha Harkness. But like, bro, like what parts? It's just Wiccan. Like, you can't have Magneto come down and be like, you're my sons. We're going to find your mother. You know what I mean? You can't have the Avengers and X-Men show up in Latveria. You can't have Doctor Doom being the one that's going to marry Wanda. You can't have the power of the life force and her trying to bring people back to life. Like, you can't do any of that shit from Children's Crusade. So, I don't even know. I have no idea what they could do because they don't have those characters established. So I don't know exactly what parts of Children's Crusade could be adapted other than just Billy being Billy Kaplan, having powers and thinking that he could be Scarlet Witch's child. But like in Children's Crusade, if you read Children's Crusade, basically everybody admits that he's Scarlet Witch's child, like immediately. Like it's not even really a thing. Which I actually kind of found jarring when I reread it. I was like, oh, it's kind of weird. But, yeah, I don't know. Robert Meyer Burnett said in a Campia stream that all movies and shows post-Endgame have taken place in different universes. Thoughts? That's kind of a fun idea, but I don't really think so. I wouldn't mind that, though. And you know what I was thinking about, dude? I was like, dude, here's something that's bugging me lately about the Marvel stuff with the multiverse. Like, we're not even having that proper multiverse fun. Like, part of the multiverse is, like, all these Elseworld versions. Like, you read multiverse comics, right? And you get a version of Doctor Doom that's, like, actually Reed Richards that took, like, the Power Stone and the Reality Stone and put them in as his eyes or some shit, right? It's a variant. It's super dope. It's cool because you're familiar with Reed, but it's a twist on it because it's like, yo, this Reed became Doom, which is kind of like Age of X. But, you know, that shit's awesome. Like, you have the Exiles, and you've got a child of Storm and T'Challa that has powers. You know what I mean? Like, is a mutant and also the Black Panther. It's like, that's really, really fun. Versions of Cable that never had the techno-organic virus, so therefore he's, like, godlike. Like, why aren't we having, like, the actual fun that one can have with the multiverse? Like, if you look at all of the video games and comics that talk about like alternate versions or the multiverse, it's always like a crazy twist on a character. Like that mobile game that we played back in the day that had all the versions of Iron Man, like that shit had the multiverse and shit, right? And I just don't feel like we're actually getting any of that goodness right now. Expo City says, what do you think of Namor as a mutant? Does he have the X gene? Can they explain that later? Or do you think the MCU is doing something different with the mutants? I think he has the X gene, yeah. And I think him saying like he is a mutant is sort of the way to that. Because basically like he has this weird property. He's a mutant. Maybe he doesn't even fully understand like what that means exactly, but his physiology is totally different than theirs, as they say in the movie. So I think that means mutant for sure. I think that means X gene for sure. For sure. Yeah. We had a friendly neighborhood level Spider-Man yet. That's true. And I look forward to that as well. I think that would be fun. Yeah. Yeah. All right, everybody. I think we're going to get on out of here. Did you say Shuri or Riri? Don't you dare, Zion. Don't you dare, bro. Ramatut would be lit if he could be set up Apocalypse. That's true. That's true. I think they mix Namor and Apocalypse together for the MCU. I don't know about that, bro. Maybe some elements of it. So you think he's got celestial gear? Is that what you're saying? You think Namor's got some celestial shit? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree a little bit with Justice there. They're not tapping into the full potential. It just seems like cameo, or the way to bring in like cameos and stuff like that, which is cool, I guess. All right, everybody. Much love to you all. Much love. Appreciate you guys being here. Again, for members, we'll be live at 11 a.m. tomorrow. That should be dope. We'll just go over some behind-the-scenes stuff, talk about the channel, etc., etc. Thursday's Thanksgiving, and we'll do a Thanksgiving stream. It'll be relatively quick, you know. We'll just go over some stuff. I'll get out a list of everything I'm grateful for this year, and I'll read this big list to you guys, and you guys can tell me all that you're grateful for. It'll be a big old freaking love fest on Thursday, so that shit should be cool. And then we'll have one on Friday as well. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy special stream? I don't know. Well, I'll think about it. All right, everybody. Much love. And as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Amen. Amen. Good stuff. Appreciate you guys being here, man. I literally just heard a thing from Dude Trust Me, bro. Hey, good thing I clarified because I was like, wait, what? But yo, there's a lot of crazy Marvel stuff going on right now, as you guys already know, but I'm super excited. Much love to y'all, man. I'll see the members tomorrow. I'll see the rest of you Thursday. Let's keep this train moving. Make sure to open up your third eye to all the possibilities of the universe and become Zen and become one with everything that's going on and all that. And then also wash your butt.